Changes in weight. Number 5, Rushing Raj, 1 pound over. 6, Spanish Pistol, 6 over. 9, Chief's Image, 4 pounds over. Leading the post parade, 49 a days. This year's Northern California Horse of the Year. 49 a days, bred in Kentucky by Woodcrest, is owned by FFF Racing Stables, trained by Roger Stein. The substitute trainer is Bob Janot, and in the saddle is Corey Nakatani. Number 2, one of a two-pronged attack on this year's event by Neil Drysdale, is Batshoof, bred in Ireland by Mount Coot Partnership, owned by Sheikh Maktoum bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Jim Hilling is the substitute trainer for Neil Drysdale, and Eddie Delahousse takes the ride. Number 3, the filly, Free at Last, bred in Great Britain by the owner G.W. Lee. Free at Last, the other half of the Neil Drysdale attack. Jim Hilling, again the substitute trainer. Ron Hansen will ride. Number 4, Diablo Corps, bred in France by SNC Watine Michel Afy. Diablo Corps is raced by Mrs. M. Cahan, is prepared by Charlie Whittingham. Alan Severinson, the substitute trainer. David Flores is up. Number 5, Rushing Raj, bred by W.S. Carutz in Florida, owned by David Lane, trained by Michael Onett, to be ridden by Donnie Miller. 6, Spanish Pistol, bred in Washington by Gary Yetner, owned by Kenneth W. and Rosemarie Smith, trained by Dent Caton, the assistant trainer Kenneth Playman. Brian Campbell is in the irons. Number 7, French 75, bred here in California by Rowan and Whitney, raced by Gano Stable, trained by Jack Van Berg, Casey Doyle the substitute, and Gary Boulanger is aboard. In the number 8 saddle cloth, undefeated on the turf course here at Bay Meadows, Rudy's Fantasy, bred in Kentucky by Flaxman Holdings Limited, owned by Lord Gordon White, trained by Richard J. Cross Jr., Jim Hilling the substitute trainer, and Luis Ortega, again partners Rudy's Fantasy. Winding up the post parade is Chief's Image, number 9, bred by D.J. Deere in Great Britain, raced by Red Barons Barn and Cohen. Daryl Vienna puts the polish on Chief's Image, who this afternoon will have the services of Russell Bays. That's the lineup, 9 of them chasing the $250,000 prize in the Bay Meadows Handicap. Rudy's Fantasy comes up to gate 8, and Chief's Image completing the line. All in. Set to go. Racing in the Bay Meadows Handicap. 49 a days wins the break from the inside. Spanish Pistol, the outsider of the field, jumps away smartly and travels up to second, followed out wide by Rudy's Fantasy and French 75. Free at Last, Rushing Raj between horses. Back towards the inside next is Batshoof, getting back in the field. Next to last is Diablo Corps, and Chief's Image is the early trailer. There's no speed on. Running down to the 7/8 of a mile marker. 49 a days being joined by Spanish Pistol, and Rushing Raj has planted 3 deep in the run through the first turn. They're a length and a half clear of the lone filly engaged, namely Free at Last, who's up nice and handy, only 3 off the speed. After 2.5 comes Rudy's Fantasy, clear of French 75, Batshoof. Second last is the ghostly grey Diablo Corps, and Russell Bays and Chief's Image trail the field into the back where Spanish Pistol is testing 49 a days. 49 a days being given no peace in the middle part. Only a head back here is Spanish Pistol. Rushing Raj 2 away third, over 1 off the rail now. Free at Last being given the run of the race by Hansen. About 2 further back to Rudy's Fantasy, then French 75. Batshoof is awkwardly placed third last on the rail. Flores pulling Diablo Corps 3 wide to start a run, and last is Chief's Image as the Bay Meadows Handicap field starts to bunch up. Running down the side, 5/16 of a mile to go. Spanish Pistol, 49 a days, joined by Free at Last, getting a glorious run through along the inside. Out wider on the course is Rudy's Fantasy putting in a run, followed by Rushing Raj. Free at Last and 49 49 a Days bump at the top of the lane. There's not much between them. 49 a Days regains the lead. Down the outside is French 75 storming home. French 75 goes to the lead with about 16th to go. It's French 75 in front from 49 a Days, and Batshoof starting to fly, but French 75 lands the prize, wins by a length. Second home is 49 a Days, Batshoof third, followed by Chief's Image, free at last, Diablo Core, Rudy's Fantasy, then Rushing Raj, and last is Spanish Pistol. 7 is the winner, and the judges call on a photo to determine second and third. After the photo for second, number 1, 49 a Days, secures that placing. Number 2, Batshoof is third. Unofficially 7-1-2. Final time 1:49 and 2/5. And here is the 1991 Bay Meadows Handicap winner, French 75. French 75, a 4-year-old bay colt by Boitron out of High Pheasant. Bred in California by Rowan and Whitney. Raced by Gano Stable. Trained by Jack Van Berg. Casey Doyle, the substitute trainer. Winning rider, Gary Boulanger. Making the trophy presentation to the winning connections of today's Bay Meadows Handicap is Bay Meadows President, Mr. James P. Kahn. The result is now official, 7-1-2. The $5 exacta, $268. The pick 6 pays on 4 out of 6 winners and on 3 out of 6. 4 out of 6 is a payout of $535.80. 3 winners from 6 is $21.20. Now, if I can direct your attention again to the winner's circle, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Beach, the host of Bay Meadows Today, has winning rider Gary Boulanger on hand.
Thank you, Michael. Gary, your thoughts on the race? Outstanding stretch drive there.
Yeah, he's a very nice horse. I'd like to thank Jack and their owners for putting me on him, for one. I really didn't know much about him, just what Jack told me briefly before we got out of the paddock, and I pretty well was just set out to do what he told me to do, and found myself with a ton of horse at the quarter pole, and just he flew down the lane.
Describe the early part of your trip.
He was fairly close, only about 4 or 5 off at all times, very responsive. He was relaxed. Nothing was bothering him. I was picking my way through horses through the turn. Quarter pull, a couple horses shot off, and I jumped outside him just before the 8th pull, and I asked him to run. He just went to run real hard and had nothing but horse left.
I know for a fact this is the biggest win of your career, a Grade 2 race, $250,000. How does it feel?
It feels great.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Winning jockey, Gary Boulanger.
Thank you, Brian. Next event for decision today is the Fly to Win Farm. Post time has been set for 4:41. One change, number 1, I'll Deliver, £1 over. We have a final score to hand from Candlestick Park. And the news is good. The 49er playoff hopes stay alive with a victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, 28-14. The 49ers defeating Kansas City